Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. We're back to cruising, and we're going to be cruising for the whole month of December. So we're looking forward in this episode to talk about those cruises. Number 2, is cruising worthwhile if you can't go swimming during the cruise? Number 3, my initial thoughts on the cruise we're on right now, which is the Holland America Zuiderdam. Number 4, what cruise hotel we used before the cruise. And number 5, beware of the taxi scam at Fort Lauderdale Airport. So for the month of December, we've got 3 cruises planned. We are going to be on the Zuiderdam, which we're on right now. We're 3 days into a 10-day cruise on the Zuiderdam. Then we will be on the Sun Princess again. And, I've got mixed emotions about going back on the Sun Princess. We were on the maiden voyage, the very first voyage. It was not a good experience, but I'm willing to give Princess a second chance and to see if they've made the changes necessary to the Sun Princess, especially after they got rid of the president of Princess. And then we're going to be on the Nieuw Statendam, which is also Holland America. So it's a little larger Holland America ship, a little newer Holland America ship. So we're looking forward to those cruises over the next 26 days, I believe it is. And we're going to bring you information as we go along. Now, as we get into this, number 2, I had some squamous cell carcinoma taken off the top of my head about a month and a half before we started cruising. And I thought it would all be healed up, but we had some problems. So as you can see, I've got a bandage here, and I've actually got a little hole in my head, which keeps me from going swimming. Now, what we like to do on cruises is get off the ship, go to the beach, get our little rafts that we have that we bought off of Amazon, blow them up, just laying around the beach and then getting in the water and floating around in the water, maybe having a nice drink. That's our idea of cruising. Plus getting in the pool on the ship and the hot tub. Well, I can't do any of that this time. So I'm really anxious to see how this cruise is going to work out for me. Am I going to be bored? Is there going to be anything for me to do? We've been on the Zuiderdam for 3 days now, and so far it hasn't been bad. I mean, we walked the beach, we got our toes in the water, we've enjoyed just looking at the beautiful scenery around the port, the beautiful water, the Caribbean. But can I do that for 24 days? We'll see. Third thing I wanted to talk about today was the hotel we use for our pre-cruise, and that's the Hyatt Place Hotel there at the port. It's a great hotel. We've stayed there several times, but it is a little expensive. It has a great location. It's like 3 miles to the airport and a half mile to the port itself. They have a great laundry facility. They have a great swimming pool. And then they're really close to restaurants. If you want to go over to the grocery store, pick up some soda or some snacks, it's really close, walking distance. Everything's within walking distance there. So I think this Hyatt Place is someplace you ought to check out if you're wanting to stay pre-cruise or post-cruise at a hotel near the port. As I said, it's a little expensive. We had a senior rate, and I think it was about $235 with tax. So a little more than I like to spend, but it is a very nice hotel. It's a suite. It has a separate living room, has microwave, it has the refrigerator, a nice desk, great king-size bed. The bathroom's not the best in the world, little small, just a shower, but overall it's a great place for you to consider on a pre or post cruise excursion. So let me give you my initial thoughts on the Zuiderdam, Holland America's ship. We've been on her for 3 days now, and this is my initial thoughts about the cruise and about the ship. First of all, our cabin. We are in a signature suite, and this cabin is just superior. It's fantastic. We're in suite number 8055. And even though it is located just one deck below the Lido pool, we have not been disturbed by excessive noise or by any problems at all. It's really been a great cabin. I feel this is the perfect cruise ship cabin. It allows you much more room than a standard veranda. It has a very large balcony, and it has a large bathroom. And all this at a fraction of the cost of the bigger suites. The ship itself is in very good condition, especially considering her age, and is perfect for those who want to relax and cruise in a very quiet atmosphere. It's a little sleepy, but the ship itself is nice. And this ship obviously is much smaller than what we usually sail, so there's a lot less people on board. The food has been tasty, but not exceptional. And Holland America is a little stingy on the hours food service is available, especially at the Lido buffet. The overall service on the ship is outstanding, even though the buffet serving lines can be extremely long during peak hours. I still prefer getting my own food and my own portions. I grew up in a family of 7. So I'm used to everyone fighting for and grabbing their food at the same time. The entertainment, well, it's mediocre. And the casino video poker odds, they're horrendous. The average age of the crowd is definitely much older, even than on our Princess cruises. And there are hardly any kids on the ship at all, which is fantastic. This ship is perfect for an older cruiser who just wants to get away and relax in a quiet, peaceful setting or atmosphere. Overall, we are enjoying our experience on the Zuiderdam, but if you decide to sail her, you have to understand the pluses and minuses, or you might be disappointed. Fourth thing I want to talk about is a scam that happened to us at the airport with the taxis. Now, we've had some problems with taxis at the Fort Lauderdale airport before, and usually we just take an Uber. But the last time we went down to the share ride area at Lauderdale, it was just an absolute zoo. I mean, there were so many people, such a small area, trying to find your ride in the midst of 1,000 suitcases and 50 people was really difficult. So when we got off the plane this time, I told Eve, let's just go down and get a taxi. It's not that far. It's only 3 miles to the hotel. So we got a taxi. We got in. I noticed right off the bat that normally there on the back seat, they have the screen, which shows your fare, how much everything is. And then also you can kind of look at the driver's screen as well and see what the fare was. Well, I couldn't see the fare on the driver's screen. There was no screen for me to look at. And the screen in the back seat was turned off. And I was a little uneasy about that. But I thought, I mean, we're only going 3 miles. How much can this cost? So when we got to the hotel, he gets out. Usually they have you pay before they get out. But he gets out, goes back, gets our luggage. I get out, go back to get the luggage. And I said, well, how much do we owe you? He said, well, if you're paying cash, it's going to be $23, and then you can put some tip on there. I said, this was a 3-mile ride. $23 for a 3-mile ride? He said, yeah, that's what the fare is. I said, are you sure that's what the fare is? He goes, oh, yeah, that's the fare. I said, I tell you what, I'm going to pay with a credit card. Well, that kind of upset him a little bit, but he got back in the cab, punched all the numbers in, and then my screen came up in the back for $15. He was trying to scam me out of $8 plus another tip. And I know that's not a lot of money, but it's just irritating when people try to scam you for anything. They try to pull the wool over your eyes. So if you're taking a taxi out of Fort Lauderdale, you make sure that you see what the fare is. You discuss the fare with them, because $23 to go 3 miles is outrageous. It was bad enough paying $15. I looked to see what it would have been on Uber. it would have been $10. So when we took transportation from the hotel to the port, which we always use Uber there, and that was only $7. Make sure that you don't get scammed by these taxi drivers. Well, that's it for today. We'll be bringing you more cruise news and synopsis of what we're doing on our cruise as we go along. But until then, remember, the only trip you'll regret taking is the one you don't. And remember, I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, and remember, the only trip you'll regret taking, and remember, the only trip you'll regret taking is the one you don't.